Yo, it's March the 11th, 2016, and I wanted to discuss with y'all something briefly. It's very important. I think it's very important that you sit and chew on this right now, right? While you have a little bit of time to chew on it. Right? There is a verse in the Bible, James chapter 1, verse 22, and it starts off, be ye doers of the word. Uh, Continues to say, and not hearers only, deluding yourself or deceiving yourself. All right. But focusing on that first part, be ye doers of the word. All right. And right before that, it talks about humbling yourself, humbly welcoming the word, obviously. And there's also another verse I want to make reference to where Jesus actually said, don't put pearls before swine. All right, it's not necessary. Now, the reason that I bring these two verses up, they're very important to think about. All right. First, I want to bring up a situation that's quite serious. All right, deadly serious, and that was the Lavoy Finicum, Oregon situation. And also, I want to bring up a situation that happened even more recently with that lady Lauryn in Southern, and she got pissed, dumped all over. You might have seen that. All right. Let's start with the Lavoy Finicum thing. All right. I don't want you to miss my words. In my humble opinion, Lavoy Finicum was murdered. All right, he was definitely killed by officers who, to put it lightly, were not good at carrying out justice. All right, and we could just leave it at that. All right. The reason I bring that up is there's a lot of people who are saying heinous things and going around and saying all sorts of mean-spirited things about Lavoy Finicum, calling them all sorts of names, and that's really not necessary. But there are people out there, say like Paul Romano, or even myself, who also wanted to point out the fact that Lavoy Finicum, although he had good intentions, he was sort of going about things slightly in the wrong way, in a misled way, and that kind of contributed to his death. Should he have been killed? Nah. But could he have done things smarter? Yeah, he could have. All right. And then, like I said, Lauryn Southern, the reason she had piss dumped on her head by some crazy wacko out of a bottle, like they bottled their own piss or somebody's piss, and carried it around with them in order to dump it on a girl's head. Right? And they call themselves feminists. And really, I mean, dang, that it flies in the face of reason. All right, certainly. But I want to point out at the time, Lauryn Southern, although I agree with her, there are only two genders. There will only ever be two genders. What she was trying to do is put pearls before swine. All right, she was trying to explain to a group of wackos that there are only two genders. Now they did not want to hear that. All right, at all. They did not come to be informed. All right, they already had their opinions. They already had the piss in hand. All right, so you could say that although she was right as well, she could have gone about things in a slightly smarter manner. She was putting, like I said, pearls before swine. All right. Well, Lavoy Finicum and Lauryn Southern were on the side of, dare I say, righteousness. Right? They had reason about them. This is true. But also, they could have done things a little bit smarter. Now, I'm sure y'all agree with me out there, or some of y'all do, that everything that takes place, everything that you see taking place out there, current events and in your own life, that is the will of God. All right? And lots of times, very bad things happen to people. It might happen to you. You might think, oh man, why did that happen? I got bad luck. Really, honestly, that's the will of God. All right? When you're not admitting that, you're going astray. You're starting to lose focus. All right? So we have to accept that as much as we don't like that Lavoy got killed, as much as we don't like that ranchers being robbed all over the place for their land, as much as we don't like to see an attractive young girl get pissed on her hand, these things were all the will of God. And the reason for this, dare I say, is that we can see these things and have the opportunity to step back, say, man, I respect that person for doing what they did, but honestly, they were not acting very smart about it. And although I want to carry on in their footsteps, carry on their legacy, I believe in their righteousness, I myself am going to have to do things a bit smarter. Right? Say in the case of Lavoy, you got to realize now that you've seen what can happen. You can easily get murdered. They can easily put it on television, and they can easily play it off. What you're going to probably have to do in the future, if you're ever in that sort of situation, is play it cool. Right? Don't suggest that anybody shoots you in the head. In fact, even if you are going to see the sheriff, get down on the ground, and as terrifying as it might be, just lie down on the ground with your hands behind your back. They might kill you. This is true. That is true, but at the same time, it might make a bigger impact because people will see that you quite obviously surrendered and then you got killed. That's an example of not living your life till the very end. That's a sad situation. That will play out more than likely, and it will probably play out on the television. A lot of people probably will get killed that way. I could probably easily get killed that way. But, however, it'll be harder to argue against my actions or your actions. All right. Say if you're in a situation where you got totally nutballs feminists out there, you're not going to change their mind, all right? They want to be the victims forever and ever. It doesn't matter if they pour a gallon of piss on your head. They're going to pour a gallon of piss on your head and then immediately after that call themselves the victims. All right? Reason and logic is not on their agenda. So if you happen to find yourself in a situation out in public when you're vulnerable like that, then I would hope that you go ahead and don't argue with these folks. Don't bother, all right? Because if Jesus wants to save them, he will save them, all right? It's not necessarily your duty. What your duty is to inform the children, inform people who do want to learn, inform people who do want success in their lives, all right? All right, so just to finish it off, these people, they were good people. Lauryn said she's still alive. I'm sure she's taken a number of showers. But we're going to have to smarten up. We're going to have to sharpen up. All right, the reason for this is we are neck deep in the tribulation right now. It's the end of days. Things are bad. Things are definitely going to get worse. It's March the 11th, 2016.